Thank you. The Torah reading for today includes the Parah Adumah, the Red Heifer ritual. Numbers 19 focus on the state of a person who has come into contact with a corpse. A person who has been near death becomes tameh, a word often translated as impure, though it might be more helpful to think of it as being in a state of otherness. They have touched the edge of existence, and because of that proximity to the end of life, they are temporarily moved to the margins of our communal routine. This somehow recognizes that death changes the texture of the air around us. Anyone who has sat by a bedside in those final hours or stood in a room where a life has just departed knows that you do not simply walk away and rejoin a dinner party as if nothing happened. You are marked by the experience. The Torah requires a 7-day process of return for the one who has been near death. Purification involves being sprinkled with a special water on the 3rd and on the 7th day. It is a profound acknowledgement that returning to the camp, to the heart of the living community, takes time and intention. We cannot expect ourselves to snap back into our usual roles without a bridge. Going back to our Torah reading, a striking paradox sits at the very center of the ritual. The people who facilitate the purification become tameh themselves. The priest who oversees the burning and the person who gathers the ashes must wash their clothes and wait until evening before they considered ready to rejoin the camp. Helping another person become pure renders the helper impure. The ones who carry the water and the ones who perform the cleansing work are themselves altered by the task. They take on a portion of the heavy atmosphere they are trying to lift from others. The same dynamic plays out every single day within our own lives. You might be the person who has spent the last 6 months navigating the slow, grinding decline of a parent. You might be the spouse who stays awake, listening for the rhythm of a partner's breathing, or the friend who has become a permanent fixture in the grieving household long after the Shiva candles have burned out. We often reserve our deepest sympathy for the person who has suffered the loss, and rightly so. Yet the Torah invites us to look closer at the people standing just behind them. I think we must notice the ones doing the heavy lifting of the soul too. The paradox of the purifier becomes impure validates a lived reality. When you care for someone who is frail or grieving, you carry the weight of their fragility. You absorb their anxiety, their silence, and their pain. There is a saying, proximity to the fire inevitably leaves you smelling of smoke. People who care for others often carry more than anyone sees. The quiet turning up, making calls, sitting quietly, bringing food, notice what is needed before anyone asks. From the outside, they may seem composed, but underneath, there may be tiredness. There may be tiredness, strain, and a sadness that has not quite found words. Numbers 19, our Torah reading understands something very honest about that. The person who helps prepare the water of purification does not remain untouched. The one who gathers the ashes must also wash and wait until evening before returning fully to the camp. Torah knows that anyone who helps others through grief, illness, or the shadow of death is changed by that closeness. Care leaves a mark. Our tradition has always honored that kind of presence. The rabbis teach us that gemilut chasadim is greater even than charity, because it asks not only for what we have, but for who we are. Bikur cholim, nichum avelim, levayat hamet, the quiet work of the Chevra Kadisha, all of these acts for time, patience, steadiness, and heart. They are holy not because they draw attention, but because they so often happen without it. Some days ago, we had a very quiet and not very well-known significant day in our Jewish calendar, the 7th of Adar. The day is linked in Jewish tradition with the death of Moses, and actually also his birthday, and has become a day to honor those who care for the dead, especially the members of the Chevra Kadisha. It is a quiet observance which feels fitting. People who do this work, like Mitzi from the JJBS, rarely seek attention. They wash, they prepare, they accompany, they return home, and often nobody knows what they have held that day. I want to say very simply that this community is blessed by people who do that kind of caring. We are blessed by those in our care group who keep watch over others with such generosity. We are blessed by Sarah Angel and by the steady, thoughtful way she helps hold people through difficult days. And we are blessed by those who visit, call, accompany, cook, arrange, notice, and stay, often without recognition, often long after the first sharp moment of crisis has passed. Some of you do this while carrying worries and loss of your own. Some of you are tired in ways that are hard to admit. And some of you may feel that because the grief is not technically yours, you should simply get on with the things. The Torah says otherwise. She reminds us that the people who help others return need care as well. They too need time. They too need to be brought back into the camp. That surely is part of our task as a congregation, not only to surround mourners, but also to hold those who have been doing the surrounding, not only to thank them, but to make sure they are not left carrying so much alone. The ashes of the Red Heifer were kept for the sake of the whole community. In our lives, that means keeping ready some shared measures of tenderness, attention, and support for those who have already given so much. May those among you who spend themselves caring for others know how deeply that kindness matters. May they know that it is seen. May they know that on behalf of this community, it is cherished. And may we be wise enough and gentle enough to help those who carry others find their own way back inside to a place where they too can rest, breathe, and be held. Shabbat Shalom. So this morning we will have two Torah scrolls taken out. One is continuing our regular cycle in the Torah reading. So we're on Parashat Kitisa with the golden calf. And that's exactly the portion we're looking at today. And then the second scroll is indeed for Shabbat Parah Adumah, reminding us of the purification ritual. Traditionally, this is just to remind you that Pesach is really coming very close, but I hope that my words actually draw a little bit the attention in another direction, that this Shabbat should also remind us to look after those who are looking after so many people in our community.